Hey guys, it's Caitlin Hushke, and today we're going to be talking about the death of books, magazines, and music shops. Streaming has become very popular in the recent years. You can stream just about anything, movies, books, and your music. You can even get your local newspaper online. This has been a big step for us, being able to instantly watch, read, or listen to something we would have to go out and purchase, or wait for the stores to get their stock in. Most people thought that having the streaming option would kill off magazines, bookstores, and music shops, but it has only made some of the companies stronger. Edna Gunderson wrote on USA Today, "The digital era was supposed to rain death on music's old world order, but vinyl and independent record stores didn't get the evacuation order." Tower Records was one of the biggest record companies of 1960. It started off in the back of a drugstore and then grew. Over the next 46 years, it grew to 89 stores and then went bankrupt thanks to overexpansion, online piracy, and the digital revolution. Part of this piracy was started in 1991 with Napster. Napster allowed you to download albums or one single song illegally. It gave us the opportunity to get a full album without having to pay for it, and just get one song if we only like that one song off the album. Just after half a year of its release, it was shut down thanks to the Recording Industry Association of America. Piracy was hurting the music industry by making it easy for people to gain music without paying for it, which then leads to not needing the physical copy of an album. Vinyl sales have gone up for 5 years straight, and they rose to 17.7% in 2012. Over the past half a year, starting around Christmas, vinyls and record players have been popping up more and more, which shows that they haven't died off quite yet. Streaming music allows us to listen to one song or one full album or a mixture of one artist adding in other artists. It allows us to sample songs before we buy them, and if we absolutely fall in love with them, we have the option to go out and buy the hard copy or download it from iTunes. And downloading and buying them from iTunes still helps the music company, and it still helps the artist. And so streaming hasn't killed off the records, with them still rising. Books are another thing you can stream. Amazon and Barnes & Noble both have tablets specifically for reading, Amazon having the Kindle and Barnes & Noble having the Nook. Amazon doesn't have to rely on their physical copies of books to make its profit, but Barnes & Noble does. And to compensate for the loss of sales, Barnes & Noble have added little knickknacks throughout the store for people to see while picking up something else and to purchase if they went in intentionally finding that knickknack. But Barnes & Noble did start to downsize their Nook segment 2 years ago, which increased the physical products. And so those products did do better than the digital content. Barnes & Noble did create an expansion of the company called Barnes & Noble Education. Barnes & Noble Education is basically on college campuses, you will have a little Barnes & Noble store for your textbooks, which gives students another option to purchase their textbooks rather than going through the college bookstore or going through another bookstore around campus. The newspapers and magazines aren't doing as well as they used to be. We are able to get both of these news sources online, which is a cheaper option for us. A lot of people rely on these physical newspapers every day. Some people don't have access to the internet, and some of them rather have the hard copy. The rise of internet has made the daily newspaper look slow and unresponsive, while the advent of Craigslist, which is wiping out classified advertising, has created a palpable sense of doom. With Craigslist taking those classified segments, the newspapers can't get revenue from putting in the classified ads, and so that's another big loss from the magazines and the newspapers, and it just seems like a cheaper option for the newspapers to switch to online. The magazines have taken a toll just like the newspapers. Literary magazines, like books and other traditional print media, have seen declining revenues as readers increasingly shift to online sources and digital media. It's easier for kids nowadays to go online and look up DIY tutorials on how to do your makeup or how to do this craft object. And so a lot of those crafting magazines and all of those fashion magazines aren't making their revenue like they used to. And there's not really much the newspapers and magazines can do, because if you aren't getting those sales from ads or those sales from students wanting to make something, you can't continue to print and your prices just keep going up for those magazines. While the music shops and bookstores continue to thrive, magazines and newspapers will never be like they used to. Music shops are doing better with their record sales rising, and more people want records and are willing to pay the little extra for the hard copy. Barnes & Noble has increased with downsizing their Nook department and expanding the company. We might see the end of physical copies of newspapers and magazines sooner than we thought.